Welcome to the Bear Talk, your go-to Chicago Bears podcast, where a father and son break down all things Bears, from Soldier Field to Sunday showdowns. I'm your host, Dylan Weaver, and as always, joined here by my dad. How you doing, Dad?
I'm doing great, and I took one out of your book. I'm wearing the same outfit for this week's game. Since it's the same week, you got to wear the same clothes, and I think we're in for a banger.
Yeah, this is definitely shut everyone up game for the Bears. It started off with, you're beating teams you should beat. You're beating backup quarterbacks. You can't beat a 500 team. Well, the Bears cross that off their checklist next week, and they can cross another one off this Friday by taking down the defending Super Bowl champions. And honestly, if they beat the Eagles with once again looks to seem like they're going to be missing all three linebackers, the haters are going to be sick, and they probably will take a week off of social media, because if the Bears find a way to win this game, which I do think is possible, they will be in complete and utter silence. I told you after they beat the Steelers, the excuse was going to be, well, Aaron Rodgers didn't play. And sure enough, that's the whole narrative going around, not really by the national media, but by, Twitter, the fan bases. It's all, well, Aaron Rodgers didn't play. If he plays, the Bears don't win that game. Well, shoulda, coulda, woulda, the Bears won. And if they win this week, there's not much people can say really about it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I tell you what, this one's got me all giddy, because I know you're going to talk about the stats as we go through this matchup, but 2 8-3 teams, who would have thought for a Black Friday game we get this matchup, and you look at the stats going down, and the Bears are outperforming that of the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. And you're right, we got some injuries, right? We got those linebackers. But every week we talk about this defense, and we're scared, and it's Swiss cheese, but they just find a way. They just, next man up, they come in there. We're worried about the linebackers because it looks like they're going to be out again. But look at what those two, fourth, fifth string linebackers did last week, combining for 29 tackles out there. I just don't. I mean, I'm thankful that we got a Bears team, and I'm thankful I get to do this with you, because it's gonna be a big one on Friday.
No, it definitely is going to be a big one. And like you said, offensively, we are outperforming the Eagles, but defensively, they are outperforming us. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Their defense is playing at a very high level. Their offense is the part that's been struggling. And, I started to ask myself last week, because right after we got done recording our post-game show last week, the Eagles and Cowboys game was taking place. And I started to ask myself, is it better to face the Eagles coming off a loss, or is it not? Sometimes when these better teams, are coming off a loss, they have a lot more incentive to straighten things back up. However, this year in Philly, there's been a lot of talk about A.J. Brown not wanting to be there, not really feeling like they're using him to his full potential. There's just been a lot of things brewing in Philly this year. And granted, they're still 8-3, which is what I ask myself every time. Why are you complaining when you're winning football games? But the tensions and everything around there seems to be pretty high for the Eagles. So it could be last week they finally tipped over the pot and started spilling, and it's going to continue maybe this week, or they get back on track and use this as a game. We're not losing 2 in a row, which would definitely be shocking, because if before the year started you would say the Eagles would lose 2 games in a row, everyone would probably laugh at you. But everyone would probably laugh at you too if you told us in the beginning of the season the Bears would be 8-3 going into this game. So this is a big game, and honestly, the Bears, it's a win-win for them, because you're playing with house money in this game. Like I said, if they lost to the Steelers this last week or some other games before this game would kind of be a must win for the Bears to stay on playoff, keep their playoff hopes alive. But, it is. You're playing with house money. You win, the haters are sick. You lose and keep it close. Well, you prove you can still hang with the teams that are going to be in the playoffs. And on top of it, somehow the Eagles are 7-point favorites in this game on sports betting markets. So, which I think is a little disrespectful in my opinion. I think the Bears, the Eagles are the same way. They're 6-1 in one-score games, just like the Bears are. Now, granted, they've played a little bit better of opponents due to how well they played last year. Typically, when you finish first or second in your division, you are going to have a tougher schedule. But, I just think it's disrespectful giving them 7 points. I think this game is going to be a game like we see with the Bears every week. And same like the Eagles have been familiar with this week. It's going to be a close game, and I think it's going to come down to the wire.
Well, I mean, every game with the Bears comes down with the wire. I mean, think about it. They don't call them the cardiac kids for nothing. But, I think about a couple things, right? You touched on it with A.J. Brown being disgruntled. Saquon's obviously not getting the productivity that he had the year before. There's some injuries that are going to be on the Eagles offense. I think it comes down to coaching. You think about that team, right? I mean, they're the Super Bowl champs from last year, have some of the best players on there. Not a lot's changed. I think it comes down to the coaching. And Nick Sirianni, Nick, unfortunately, last year there was grumblings about him as well as being a coach with that team and kind of holding it together. And I think maybe the glue has become undone a little bit. Now, they do have Vic Fangio as defensive coordinator.
I was going to say, we know Vic. Last time he was here, the Bears were 12-4 when they ended the season. He's a good defensive coordinator, and it's going to be fun watching him and Ben Johnson go at it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a chess game between the two of them. So it's going to be really good. You talk about losing back-to-back, but I want to bring you back to that Cincinnati game. The one you got in your car in and you drove all the way up to Cincinnati and you got to watch in person one of the best finishes to a Bears game ever. And I told you I was scared of that game because the Bengals I think they just lost the week before, and I'm like, oh, this is their get-right game, right? They're going to come back. It's going to be, they're not going to lose back-to-back. And even though, granted, Burrow was out, but Flacco, as he proved in that game, is no slouch. I mean, he threw for his most ever yards ever and, almost won that game. So I think it's possible, right, that they can lose back-to-back. And if you remember earlier, too, I talked about this Bears team. Last year they went on a 10-game losing streak and just spiraled down to the gutter. And this might be the 10-game winning streak this year that puts us right where we want to be at that magical, 14-3 record that I think we're going to witness. I mean, and you think about like the Hunger Games, the odds makers, when they were making the schedule, how did they know it was going to be an 8-3 matchup? On Black Friday, right? On Prime, free to the world. It's too perfect of a script. And you're going to talk about some injuries on that Eagles team. It seems like every time the Bears are going against one of these teams that are like, we can't do it. Something happens, just a little bit of an edge where it gives you some hope that the Bears can pull this off. And based on what they've done so far, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm right in the high. You were nervous last week. I was pretty confident as long as the offense took care of business. And I feel the same way in this game. I'm riding the high. This Bears team has given us hope. And a lot of years prior, it's been delusion hope where there really isn't signs of hope. But us Bears fans find reasons to have hope when there really isn't hope. This team, on the other hand, the coaching staff, everything about them, every Bears fan should believe in every game we go play at this point because they find a way to win. It doesn't matter how many injuries the Bears have. They dig deep and they're gritty. They're not gonna back down and just tuck their tails. I mean, the only time we saw that this season was week 2, and that was a long time ago now. That was the second week of the season.
It's a different team.
Yeah, 2 games in with Ben Johnson. It was a lot different where now it feels like this culture is really really starting to change. And I mean, the Bears win this game, I will start getting delusional. I've been pretty optimistic, but not to the point where I have been in other years where I really start getting delusional. If the Bears win this game, it's going to be a fun week of football. And it'll be a fun week on the timeline leading up to that Packers game next week. But I really do. I think the Bears have a chance at winning this game. We'll hop into the defense and offensive stuff, but let's hop into the injury report like you were just talking about. We'll get to it. We are recording this on Wednesday, so there will be one more day of practice tomorrow, so not everything's going to be official. But let's start with the Eagles first. Saquon Barkley looks like he's going to end up playing, was a limited participant Tuesday and Wednesday, but still looks like he's going to be fine. He was dealing with a groin injury. Reed Blankenship, their other safety, who would have been a huge loss in this game with a thigh injury, it looks like he's going to play as well. Limited participant Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, the big people that aren't going to be playing, Lane Johnson, obviously, he was out last week. He had surgery on that foot. He's not going to be playing. One of the best left tackles in the whole NFL. Multiple Pro Bowler. It's a huge loss for the Philly offensive line. And I forget the guy that's stepping in, but I've been listening to a couple of Philly talk shows this week, and they were talking about how the guy filling in, he's doing fine in pass pro, but in the run game, people are just going right by him and blowing plays up in the backfield. So that'll be a good piece to keep an eye on with Austin Booker and Shoyinka. They'll be over there on that side. Hopefully they can get past set the edge. And, like you were already talking about, Saquon, I mean, we'll talk about it when we talk about this Philly offense, but Saquon is having not even half the year of what he had last year. He's honestly performing like probably a bottom 10 running back in the league this year, whether that's due to the offensive line or him in general. It looks night and day compared to last year, where last year, if you were going against Saquon, it was a deathly matchup no matter how good your defense was. And then Andrew Mukumba, he is their other safety who he got hurt last week. It doesn't look like he's going to play in this game. He didn't finish last week's game against the Cowboys, and he is still out with an ankle injury. Didn't practice Tuesday or Wednesday. So at this point, he is not going to be playing in the game. And the other one that is a big loss as well if he is not playing, Devontae Smith, who has been their productive receiver on that Eagles team this year. A.J. Brown, like you were talking about with the drama, whether that's the drama, Jalen Hurts not wanting to throw him the ball, whether, that's Kevin Patullo, their offensive coordinator, not really scheming him up. Devontae Smith has been this team's go-to target, and he did not practice now for 2 days in a row. Now, he is one of those veteran players where if he is a limited participant tomorrow, he probably will end up suiting up and playing because he doesn't need a full week of practice. But it's a shoulder, chest, and an illness. And 2 days of not practicing, I mean, tomorrow's going to be a real telltale sign if he's going to play. But I'll be honest, I don't think it looks like he is going to play, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And if he's not playing, this is, like you said, where the Bears seem to get lucky every week with some big or key player not playing in a game, and he is definitely one of them. I mean, if they don't have Devontae Smith out there, and really all you're worrying about then is A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, who, I mean, I don't think Dallas Goedert's really all that. He does a lot of short intermediate stuff. Yes, it'll be a tall task for our linebackers that are filling in, but and then you worry about Saquon Barkley, who's having, I really think it comes down to Nashawn Wright and a safety over the top with A.J. Brown, and let them beat you every other way. I mean, it's definitely an interesting injury report for the Eagles. And on the Bears side, let's just start with the good news. It looks like this is Jaylon Johnson's return. C.J. Gardner-Johnson had an interview today with the media after practice, and he was pretty much talking like he's going to be back. He said, I'm happy for him to be back. This is a perfect team. Like, he's talking like pretty much saying he's playing. He would know that because of game plans and how the practices are going. So expect to see Jaylon Johnson out on that field, which is massive for the Bears. Better yet, maybe Jaylon Johnson gets matched up on A.J. Brown. However, I'm not going to lie. I want Nashawn Wright on A.J. Brown because A.J. Brown catches slants and deep balls. And so far, if you throw a 50-50 ball up to a receiver, Nashawn Wright has proven time and time again he will go up and take that ball away from a receiver. So I'm not going to lie. I would not mind seeing Nashawn Wright out there with A.J. Brown. But Kyler Gordon, full participant as well. However, I do feel like they might save him for one more week before fully bringing him back. It's a little bit different because you got C.J. Gardner-Johnson. There's not really an immediate rush where you absolutely need Kyler Gordon back. So I think Kyler, even though he was a full participant this whole week, I do think he's still going to sit out this game. And if he does play, I still think C.J. Gardner's going to get more snaps just due to the fact that they might try to ramp up Kyler Gordon because he's now had re-aggravated the same injury over and over again. So it would be more smart to ramp him up and put him on a limited snap count. But we'll see what happens with that. The other big one, and the reason Jaylon Johnson's more than likely playing, Tyreek Stevenson with the hip injury, hasn't practiced Tuesday or Wednesday. Another sign of why Jaylon Johnson is more than likely going to return. And then you know the story. Tremaine Edmunds still on IR, was put on it last week. TJ Edwards still out, hasn't practiced. Noah Sewell with the elbow injury still hasn't practiced. And Ruben Hippolyte, poor man, got ran over by Darnell Washington in that Steelers game, and with that shoulder injury, he didn't practice at all week. And then Luke Newman, who actually stepped up and played a pretty big role in the game when Jonah Jackson went down for a couple of series. He's dealing with a foot injury, didn't practice all week. And then Dominique Robinson, who we just got back, is now in concussion protocol, hasn't practiced all week either. But everyone else looks like Theo Benedict's on track, which another interesting thing, Ben Johnson was talking about it, but with Theo Benedict and Ozzie Trapillo, and there's a lot of competition on this team, and it's a good thing for the Bears. You know, we usually don't have competition. We just have to put a guy out there that might not even be the best, but that's all we got. So having healthy competition like this, it's a good thing, but it'll be interesting to see who gets the start. Do you keep the hot hand in there with Ozzie Trapillo and pass protection, or do you put Theo Bennett in there, who is definitely a better run blocker when it comes to running the football? And this Eagles front, you're going to have to run the football. I'll be interested. I'll be honest, I think you go with Theo just due to the fact of what you sent me over some stats. The Eagles actually have less sacks than the Bears, which makes no sense. And when you look at it, it's like, that doesn't sound right. But
that's what I want to talk about.
But that's why I'm saying I think you start Theo then, because if they're not really getting to the quarterback and sacking, you need to be able to run this on the football team. And that is the one area where Ozzie Trapillo did struggle last week. A lot of critics, Olin Kreutz, former probably Hall of Fame Bear, he was even talking Ozzie's feet in the run game are really stiff, and he's not really his feet are pretty like they got sand in them, and like he's got cement, and he can't really move that all good in space in the run game, where that's where Theo Benedict is really good at getting out in space and blocking and running downfield. And I think the Bears are going to need a run game in this, where you can have, it can't be like last week where it's just throw. They're going to have some running in this, and I do think Theo Benedict should get the start.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to go through those stat numbers now, and it's going to kind of tell a story in the way I think we should go, but what do I know, right? But, you know, the Bears are 26.3 points per game, and the Eagles only 23.2. Similar scenario that we faced last week with the Steelers. I think we were like 2 points more than them on the year in the head-to-head matchup. You look at passing yards a game, we're at 237.9, so almost 238 yards, and they're only at 207.6. And then the rushing game, like you mentioned, right, 142.3 for the Bears, 110 for the Eagles, and that's with Saquon. So like you said, a potential bottom 10 running back. And then Defensive sacks 23-22, right? Bears 23, Eagles 22. But this number here is the one where I think you could play quarter by quarter how the game's going, depending on how you want to manage the game, manage the clock and everything. We have 16 defensive interceptions, and then you put on the fumble recoveries and everything. I think we're up to like 23 or 24 for the season so far. The Eagles only have 7 out of 11.
I will counter that, though, to be fair. I'll play devil's advocate to that. The Bears do lead the league in turnovers. However, the Eagles, if you look at them, they are one of the offenses that least turn over the football. Jalen Hurts is really good.
They haven't faced the Bears yet.
Well, I hear you. But at the same time, Jalen Hurts is a quarterback, and people criticize him for it. But he can read the defense. It's not like Justin Fields, where Justin Fields couldn't read a defense and was scared to throw it. Jalen Hurts reads the defenses, and if he thinks the ball can be put in danger, he won't throw it. He's really good about protecting the football. So I do think maybe the Bears get a turnover, but it ain't going to be 2-3 like we're used to. I do not think that.
Yeah, that's not the part I'm talking about, though. I'm talking about if they're only taking away 7 balls. What an opportunity to let it air out in this game. And think about it. This is prime time. This is bigger than the, game of the week at, 4:25 or 3 o'clock, however you look at it, depending on which time zone you're in. It's bigger than a Monday night game, and it's bigger than a Sunday night game. All eyes are on.
I was about to say, the only game on Friday that will be played for the NFL. And for any of you listeners out there that don't have Amazon Prime is doing a whole day free that day for anybody. You don't need to have an account to watch this game. It will be worldwide. It might be the most watched game this season in the NFL, outside of the Super Bowl, obviously. But it is free to everybody and anybody because they're going to have – Amazon Prime's actually going to be doing a pretty cool thing, which will be fun to watch when we're watching the game. But their commercials, they're going to have specific stuff you can physically click on, and it takes all their Black Friday deals. So they're definitely doing the right marketing for it. But at the same time, it is free to the whole world. You don't need to have a Prime subscription to watch the game like you do normally on Amazon Prime on Thursdays. This is all free to the whole world. It's going to be it'll definitely be top 5 most people watching a game this season. And with both of them being 8-3, I could see it, especially after Thanksgiving. It's Friday. People are, stuffed, hungover, had enough family time just sitting on the couch watching the Bears-Eagles battle it out for the 2nd seed, by the way. Whoever wins this game will have the 2nd seed as of now in the NFC, which is absolutely massive. So, I mean, it is going to be a good game. And I mean, those stats they're like I said, it's pretty dead even. And let's hop into some keys to the game because I want to talk about how the Bears can win this game. Number 1, if the Bears score over 21 points, I think they win this game. I'm being dead serious. This Eagles offense is struggling. Just take this for example, and I know the Cowboys have been getting better. They obviously added Quinnen Williams and then Logan Wilson over from Cincinnati, and then on top of it, they finally got their other linebacker back, Overshown, who is a great linebacker. But even still, people are still putting points up on this Cowboys defense, and they only put up 21 points, and 2 of their touchdowns came off of fumbles and an interception in the Cowboys territory. So they really only scored 7 points with their offense realistically. This offense, go back to the Lions, who, by the way, the Giants just put 24 up on them. Go look at the Packers. This offense has barely put up points. And I do think the key is whatever team gets to 20 points is going to win this game. I feel like that is the major key. It doesn't matter how you get to 21 points. Whoever gets to 21, I feel like is going to win this game because it's a little vice versa. Their offense, struggling. Our defense, struggling. It could be better. They're like overall ranked 27th in the NFL. It's the takeaways that they're getting by 100%. But let's be real. Let's call a spade a spade. The Bears defense is 27th overall when it comes to defensive rankings.
I like them.
The way to win this game, the key matchup is going to be the Bears offense versus this Eagles defense. And the Bears offense, they got to find ways to score points on this Eagles defense. And it is a perfect day. It doesn't look like weather's going to be a problem in this game. I checked the weather earlier today. It's going to be a high of 45, low of 30, but it shows sun, no winds. It's going to be perfect conditions for a November game, especially in Philadelphia. But this Bears offense, I got faith in them. I think they put up around 24. I think we could see a similar score to we saw last week, maybe 24-21, a 24-17, 24-20, something like that. But the Bears offense has to get past 21 points, and I think they have a real good shot at winning this football game. I don't know. That's my key. One of my keys I got. What's a key you got in this game?
The key I got is Caleb keeps getting better, and Ben Johnson is a genius. So That's my key to the game. Yeah.
I mean, Caleb definitely, it's every week he kind of just keeps progressing and keeps progressing and keeps progressing. And a fun fact for you, by the way, for our listeners out there, Caleb Williams on average has been, before last week's game, was getting the ball out at around 3.38 seconds per drop back. Now, that obviously includes him when he runs around. They add that time, scrambling, making plays on the run. They count that as time to throw. So it's a little bit of a deceiving stat. But last week, Caleb Williams was getting the ball out in 2.6 seconds, the fastest he has in his career. And last week you started to see he knew where to go with the football. He was getting to the back of his drop back in that hitch, and ball was out. You didn't see a lot of off-script stuff last week of him running around and trying to make all these crazy plays. And I think this offense is starting to really slow down for Caleb. He's really started to trust in what Ben Johnson is doing. And I mean, how can you not trust him? The guy is an offensive tactician, and it's just that ball's getting out. And if he can, the one thing that we still need to see is the accuracy develop a little bit, because if it just tightens up an extra 5%, because he's averaging around 60% right now. If he can get up to the 65, that's probably another difference in a touchdown a game with an extra couple throws. And I mean, the thing with the Bears offense, this is the thing too. It's not like he's missing 5-yard slant routes. These are chunk plays, like 20 to 30 yards, and he's still missing sometimes, which, like we said last week on the postgame show, we've begged the Bears to score over 20 points on offense in years prior. We're scoring 30 points, and we're like, it's positive, and the accuracy is going to keep coming. Caleb talked about it this week in his thing. He said, my base got wide at times. My feet weren't set when I was releasing some of these balls, and I gotta be more honed in on that in my warmups. Take it, go back and really think through it. And this is coaching. This is what Caleb needs. And Ben Johnson and Declan Doyle, JT Barrett, the quarterback coach, this is what Caleb needs. Clean it up a little bit, and it really could start. We could start seeing the Detroit Lions offense that we've seen the past 2 years of 40 points a game, 40 points a game, 40 points a game. And it's just exciting. It's a fun year. I get so excited talking about it. And I agree. I feel like this is a game where the national media, there's still people holding out and saying, I need to see a little bit more. I need to see a little bit more. And this is the game. Just like the Patriots went into Buffalo and beat Josh Allen and them, and then everyone's like, okay, wait, the Patriots, yeah, they have an easy schedule, but they just beat the Buffalo Bills. This is that game for the Bears, the same exact game. Go into Philly, a hostile, probably one of the most hostile crowds in the NFL, and you go in there and win on Black Friday. You got 10 days to rest after this before you take on the Packers. This is a massive game. And like I said, at the end of the day, if the Bears do lose this game, it doesn't hurt that bad. But if they win this game, everything's on the table for this Bears team.
I mean, any given Sunday, right? That's why you play the game, even though this is any given Friday. I don't know if we can continue to go if they win this game. I think we have to start saying when they win this game. And I think it comes down to leadership, right? I mean, we've talked about Ben Johnson. We've talked about Dennis Allen. You just mentioned, the offensive coordinator as well as the quarterback's coach. But I was watching a little comparison side-by-side video of the previous coach in the locker room after a winning game, and then I saw obviously the good, better, best with the Ben Johnson after the game. I don't know if you got to catch that this week, but it's night and day difference, and it's all about leadership. It's really what it's all about, and you can encourage and motivate these young gentlemen who are professionals at their craft. And I think that's what it's going to come down to is this game. Ben Johnson's going to say, okay, this is our coming out party. We're going to show it all for the NFL, the league, to see that we are contenders in this league. And I think, I know we said this was an observation here, right? And what we can or what we cannot do. I think this might be the statement game for the Bears to the national media saying, hey, we're coming.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's like been a perfect soup just brewing. Like it's been, oh my God, like I said, you're beating teams that are under 500. Then you beat the Steelers last week that are above 500. And by the way, the Cowboys are above 500. So does that game count now that we beat them, that they're over 500? On top of that, though, this is a team that people still have going to the Super Bowl in the NFC. If the Bears beat this game, everyone needs to shut up. You get the Bears just beat bad teams. That narrative just gets completely shut down. And like you said, can you imagine a good, better, best after the Bears win this game? I mean, it might be the best one of the year. Ben Johnson might start doing backflips in the locker room. I mean, this is a big game, and I'm just excited to watch it. Honestly, I honestly wish they were playing tomorrow. I wish they were kicking the whole thing off on Thanksgiving because it'd be a perfect start to the holiday weekend. And I mean, I'm just excited to see this team play because it's fun every week. I swear after the game ends, I'm like, can it be game day again tomorrow? Like I get so much as the nerves gets me in the game and my stomach starts going all over the place. I really have enjoyed watching the Bears this year. I'm not disappointed to talk about the Bears with my friends and try to make excuses why the Bears are good, even though the record says otherwise. Like this season has been so much fun to watch, and all I'm asking for, and we got to raise the expectations now that we're at this point in the season. I want to see a playoff game. I'm telling you right now, I don't care if we go out and play the Rams week 1 in the playoffs or if we go to San Fran, anywhere. I'm going to the Bears' first playoff game. It's going to be must-see. We haven't experienced this since 2018, and who knows? I mean, with Ben Johnson, we're probably in good shape for time to come. But you never know. Maybe they never make it back. I'm going to the playoff game. I don't care the price. I will be there.
I think you're getting a little ahead of yourself, but I like it because now you're sharing my optimism about this team. But there is something different between the 2018 and this team. Mitch Trubisky isn't Caleb Williams, right?
Well, and it's just like I said, in 2018, we were begging the offense to score 20 points. It was our defense. The reason we won 12 games was all because of our defense. It wasn't because of Mitch and the offense scoring points. And that's why if you had to choose between having a good offense or a good defense and the other one being bad, vice versa, I'm taking a good offense with a bad defense before I'm taking a good defense with a bad offense.
Well, Lord knows the Bears have had great defenses with bad offenses for years after years after years.
And we haven't done anything with it.
Yeah, it didn't work. We wasted.
in today's league, it's been on full display. Yes, you still need a defense, but offense wins. The whole defense wins championships. No, the narrative now these past 5 years, especially with Patrick Mahomes coming into this league, it's offense wins championships. How many points can you go score? And when you need to close the game or need to have a game-winning drive, do you have the offense that can do it? And the Bears, they have that. They definitely do. They have showed time and time again. Doesn't matter running the ball, special teams. It doesn't matter Caleb Williams driving down the field. The Bears can score when they need it and if it's absolutely needed to. And that's why he's called the Iceman.
Yeah, I still struggle with the term Iceman, but as long as his teammates are calling him that and that's what they think of him, I think that's a good deal. At least he's not a self-proclaimed Iceman.
I was about to say, at least he's not calling himself 9 in press conferences and saying, "Oh, 9's coming out to play today." Right. How's that going, JJ?
Yeah, exactly. So, that just shows his ego's in check, and he's just being a good leader. And Ben Johnson's, molding and shaping that leadership style that he has in the right way. I believed it in the beginning of the year. I thought this year was going to be special. You laughed at me, and I'm telling you, I believe it in my heart with what Ben Johnson and that team has started with when him putting that coaching staff together. And watching the preseason, and now watch them, you go 0-2 to start off the season. You could have real easily went back into your shell and said, it's just a first year. We're just observing. We're going to see what's going to happen. We'll wait till the draft next year. And Ben said, no, we're not doing that. We're out here to play. And that's what they're doing. And they're putting together some great games. I mean, it's so entertaining to watch. And this game is going to be exciting, but I think you're missing a point here. You want them to play tomorrow. I'm happy that they're playing on Friday because tomorrow there's a little bitty game that's taking place, and it is the Pack Lions. And I think no matter which way that game goes, it'll be important, right? But I think we'll be able to use that game to our advantage for a little bit more motivation to outperform in our Friday game.
Yeah, and if you are a Bears fan, I'm just going to let you know, like you said, it doesn't matter who wins, but the Lions do need to win that game. The Packers, that tie is going to help the Packers a lot more than it being a loss or a win. It actually helps them a lot because come the end of the year, that tie helps their winning percentage a lot. So we do need the Lions to win tomorrow. But the Lions are starting to slam on that panic button. Right before we hopped on this show, big breaking news for the Lions. Their all-pro Pro Bowler center, Frank Ragnow, out of retirement coming back because you've seen the past couple weeks when Jared Goff is pressured, he cannot deliver a football to save his life in his receiver's hands. And it's, yes, all quarterbacks deal with pressure, but Jared Goff, when the pressure gets there, he absolutely cannot do anything. He's not mobile. He can't scramble. And on top of that, when the pressure gets there and he doesn't have a clean pocket, like I said, his footballs are terrible. He's not even getting close to hitting his receivers. So that interior of that offensive line has been struggling, and they're getting a big reinforcement there. And that's kind of sign showing the Lions they're worried. And I'm sure there was a lot of phone calls to him saying, come on, man, we need you. We need just one more time, please. Like they're trying to patch up leaking holes coming out of the swimming pool. And it's interesting. But we do need the Lions to win tomorrow. In all seriousness, because that tie is going to help the Packers a lot. It really will. And it's the same thing with the Cowboys. If the Cowboys win tomorrow against the Chiefs and the Bears don't start winning games and taking care of their side, it could get really scary because the ties, as much as people think it's not a good thing, it is a great thing for both the Packers and the Cowboys to have a tie because, like I said, the overall record, the tie doesn't matter. Just say the end of the season. Let's say for the end of the season, the Bears go 10-7 and the Packers go 10-6-1. Well, the Packers would be ahead of the Bears because 10-6 is a better win percentage than 10-7, even though they both just won 10 games. That tie is going to be tremendous for both of those teams. I still think the Cowboys have a couple more games to win before we can actually say they might have a chance at the playoffs, but the Packers are definitely in full playoff contention as of now, and my whole thing is let the Lions beat the Packers. Let us go into their house next week and beat them. And then the following week, you know who they go play? They go play in Denver at the Broncos against a really tough defense in Denver as well. And if they can get 3 losses in a row, they would go from 7-3-1 to 7-6-1. And that might shut down the whole Packers season. And it might. I just think as a Bears fan tomorrow, you should want to root for the Lions. It's the best. It's in the best interest as a Bears fan. If you're just looking out for playoff hopes, I really do think, because this I've been saying it, I've told you about it. That last playoff spot, depending on if the Cowboys actually win this weekend. If they don't win this weekend, I think the Cowboys are going to be out of it. But this last playoff spot, I'm telling you right now, it's coming down to the Bears versus Packers. Everyone just brace yourself. It's going to be – it could be a great end to a year, or it could be another heartbreak. But it is going to come down to the Bears and Packers. I'm telling you right now.
That means you think the Bears are going to lose some games coming up.
No, I don't. I'm just saying it's better to have them start losing. Like the Bears-Packers games, I'm telling you, they're ginormous. Like, and
Well,
granted, don't get me wrong. It really is like this. Whoever wins the NFC North, obviously you get an automatic bye. So it's coming down to the Bears, Packers, and Lions. One of us is going to 100% get left out, because if you look at the schedule, the Rams, they're first seed for a reason. They're going to stay there. They're going to probably have the first round bye. But then you look at the Seahawks. Yeah, Sam Darnold chokes in big time games, but that Seahawks defense is one of the best defenses in the league. They're going to be fine. They're going to cruise into the playoffs just fine. The 49ers, they had a lot of tougher games in the beginning of the year that they won, kind of like the Bears with a lot of injuries. They won those games. Their back half of the schedule is really easy. They're getting in. It's literally going to come down to whoever wins the NFC North is getting in, and then the other two teams, one of them's getting left out. And it's going to be heartbreak for one of the teams in the division, and let's just hope it's not the Bears. And that's why I'm saying we need the Packers to start adding some L's to their schedule. The Lions are already at 4 losses. The Packers are only at 3. We need to be rooting for the Lions tomorrow. But Jordan Love is 2-0 on Thanksgiving. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Tough environment in Detroit, but we will see what happens.
We will see what happens, and it is going to be exciting. So I think, where are we at? I mean, we kind of went all over the place with this one.
Yeah, a little bit of breaking news, a little bit of NFC North playoff talk. We've kind of hit on all the main points of the game when it comes to this matchup. I guess now it's time for our MVPs of the game with our score predictions. I'll let you kick it off first. Why don't you go ahead?
I'm picking Caleb Williams.
All right. Believer.
This is his game. This is the big one. The big game for CW. I'm going to go with 314 yards passing.
All right.
4 touchdowns through the air.
Oh, God.
Through the air, 4 of them. Completion percentage, I think he stays in that 61% range, 60-61. Defensive side of the ball, I got to go with Gardner Johnson.
Dang it.
Yeah.
You're stealing my thunder.
I think this is going to be he's going to come to play.
Well, this is he's already talked about it. I mean, he says it's no bad blood, but if you know C.J. Gardner Johnson and his personality, which we love it as Bears fans, but he's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder. This team let him go after he won a Super Bowl with them. The Texans, said, see you later. He got picked up by another team. They said, see you later. And here he is with the Bears in a perfect position. I think he's gonna have a game.
Yeah, and I think he sees what we all see too. There's something special there, and he knows if he doesn't live up to the expectations that Dennis Allen and Ben Johnson has, he's going to miss out on something special. And I think he wants to be a part of it, just like everyone else on this team. Even all the backups that are stepping up and rising to the top. They believe, right? And that's all it takes. You just got to believe, and anything is possible. So that's why I think it. And then final score: 42 Bears.
Jesus Christ!
Yep.
You said 42 to what?
No, 42. Because there's going to be 4 in the air and 2 on the ground.
Okay, so that's 42 points right there. Or no?
40.
Oh yeah, that's 42 points.
42 points by the Bears, and I think we're looking at 28 by the Eagles.
Wow. That is definitely not going to happen, Dad. I'm going to have to bring you back to reality like I did last week. Last week, you were too low on the score. This week, you're way too high on the score. But as long as the Bears, as long as the Bears win, it doesn't matter what your score is. But I'm going to go for back-to-back on correct scores. I hit it on last week with a 31-28. I'll start off with my score prediction. I got the Bears winning this game 24-20. Bears victory. It is going to be a nail biter once again, but I think the Bears hold on. And this time, I think the Bears are going to. I have an exact game script I want to go off of. I think the Bears are going to be trailing late in the fourth quarter, 20-17.
What makes you think that?
They usually are trailing, but I do think they're going to be trailing to 20-17. They're going to be in Philly's territory with about 2 minutes left, where they already have a field goal to send it to overtime. But Caleb's going to deliver a game-winning touchdown, not a passing. He's going to run the ball in for a touchdown. I got an exact game script. I might just be a genius.
If that happens, you better go buy a lottery ticket.
I for my offense MVP, I like Caleb, but since you said him, I'm going to go with someone else who I think is a ticking time bomb. I've said it for some time now, but now with his snap share starting to keep increasing, I just feel like Luther Burden's due for a game here, and he's a silent ticking time bomb just waiting to go off. This guy is explosive. He gets the ball in his hands, and he's 0 to 100. We've seen it time and time again. I think Luther Burden's going to have a 100-plus yard receiving game in this game, maybe a touchdown as well. For my defense MVP, you kind of stole my thunder. I wanted to take C.J. Gardner-Johnson as well. But you know what? I'm going to ride the hot hand. The guy that is now going to be the cornerback 2 for the Chicago Bears going forward. I'm sorry, Tyreek Stevenson. Nahshon Wright is going to be my defensive MVP. I can see a jump ball getting thrown right now to A.J. Brown, and I don't know, for whatever reason, I have another feeling he's going to have a highlight reel catch. He's had highlight reel catches in back-to-back weeks. Why not make it a third week in a row? So I got Nahshon Wright with my defensive MVP.
I like it. I rewatch the game like I do every week. I've got a little downtime at nighttime, and I watched that interception that Nahshon had again. I didn't realize he was a wide receiver before and converted to a defensive back.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. But when I was rewatching and I saw the interception, he was so good with his feet, making sure that he laid them out so that he would stay in bounds when he did that. And I'm like, oh, that's like a wide receiver catch. And that's why I started researching him. And I'm like, that's because he used to be a wide receiver. Kind of explains it. So kudos to the coach who converted him over. I know that's some unfortunate news with that coach, but that's pretty remarkable. He saw the talent in him. And again, it goes back to leadership, right? I mean, you have leaders who can see talent and understand what to do with it and how to harness it, and they make great things happen and develop great players and great human beings. So it's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, and the coach you want to credit for that is Al Harris. Al Harris has coached him before. Never really got a chance to play for him and get some playing time. But like you said, the Vikings, for whatever reason, he's sitting on a practice squad, comes to Chicago. And sometimes that's all it takes is a perfect scheme, a perfect coach to come in and you start to shine. And Nahshon Wright has been one of the most impressive stories of this year. It goes from realistically, he was a cornerback 4 because you're forgetting about Terrell Smith, Jaylon Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, and then probably Nahshon Wright's at cornerback 4. But due to the injuries with both Terrell Smith and Jaylon Johnson, he gets to play most of the year. Him and Tyreek Stevenson been leading that DB room, and here he goes. Probably, I'm going to be honest, if Jaylon Johnson was healthy, we might not even know who Nahshon Wright is to this day because Tyreek Stevenson's probably the other cornerback just because he's proved it already. But like we talked about last week on the post game, Nahshon Wright is going to be that cornerback too. And Al Harris actually and Dennis Allen both spoke to the media this week, and they said Nahshon Wright has earned a spot on that defense, and he will be going forward. And I think that's a sign right there that Tyreek Stevenson, you're now a depth piece. Sorry, that's just what it is. And I mean, it makes sense. You can't argue with it. The guy is not only picking off footballs, he's in the run game, crashing down, tackling people in the backfield, jumping on fumbles when it matters. The guy's making plays, and for a defense that gives up a lot of yards, but when turnovers need to happen, they make them. He's one of those guys, and I think it would be a disservice to take him off of this defense. He's only proven why he deserves to be a starter on this defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Another funny thing too, I don't remember you saying it in the injury report, but Gravon Dexter's on the injury report as of today. And
He'll be all right though.
But it's a hand injury. And all I could think of is when he was trying to recover the ball and he wanted to be the all-star and pick it up and run with it.
Yeah.
The first rule for any lineman, D lineman, right?
Just jump on it.
Just jump on the ball.
Stop trying to pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why his hands hurt.
Now, I agree. I remember he sees his other teammates jump on it, but he's mad because he wanted it and he's just smashing the ground. I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
You do realize you're a defensive lineman and you need to use your hands to shed blocks.
Yep. I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, but I think he's going to be all right, especially D linemen. The worst comes to worst, they tape it up and put a club on it, and then you're out there smacking people with a hard cast, which is probably better than having a hand, to be honest. But I think that's it. I think we hit on a lot of things. It was a good episode. I think we're both riding the Bears' momentum in the high of Ben Johnson and this Bears team, and I think we both expect a W this weekend, and hopefully that does result in a W because, like I said, after that, you got 10 days to prepare for the Green Bay Packers. It will next week could be a lot of fun, and I know we'll be together for that game, well, at least for half of it. Stupid airfare and the NFL changing the Bears game to a different time. I'm going to be watching half the game in a plane, and I might have a heart attack on the plane if it's coming down to the wire. But nonetheless, at least we'll get to watch some of it in person next week, especially Bears-Packers. It won't get any better than that. It's going to be a fun one.
Just remember the TSA frowns upon screaming on a plane, so try to hold it in while you're watching it.
Yeah, I'll probably be able to hold in the screaming, but I probably will start rocking back and forth in my chair, just going nuts. But hopefully next week it's just the Bears are winning the whole time and I don't have to really get stressed out. I mean, I couldn't imagine when you were on the plane watching that Bengals game on a plane, because if I was watching that on a plane, I wouldn't be able to contain my excitement. I would start screaming and they would probably have me in handcuffs before that plane landed.
Sir, calm down. You're scaring the passengers.
Yeah, no, seriously. But it should be a fun game. That'll do it for this episode. As always, like, comment, subscribe. And why not? Why don't you guys drop your score predictions down there for what this Bears game will be? Make sure to scroll down even further. Have our socials down there. TikTok has been doing really well. We're averaging a little over 1,000 views a video right now. Been trying to post a video every single day, just highlights from our podcast in case, people out there can't see all 50 minutes, all 30 minutes, whatever it may be of the podcast. So it's been fun on there. And then I'm always active on our social media account on Twitter. You can definitely follow along, chime in with me against some of these fans out there that are just haters on the Bears in general. I always like to back stuff up on there with stats. I don't just go out there and blow smoke and say stuff without it being true. But I think that'll do it for this episode. But until then, bear down.